What's up, guys? This is Zach with Top Deck Nation, and today we're going to be looking at another Sun and Moon starter deck, and that's going to be Roaring Heat, featuring the fire types Incineroar. If you haven't checked out our last video, be sure to check it out. I'll link it in the description or put a card up or something. But that's where we looked at the grass Pokemon deck, which featured Decidueye. I think it was called Forest Shadow. But I do think Roaring Heat is probably the best of the three starter decks here, and like I said, starter decks are typically not really geared towards competitive players so much as newer players, younger players like kids and everything. But sometimes they can be a nice little introduction to the game and getting you kind of used to what the Pokemon game is, and you get rule books and counters and things like that. So it's a great introduction to the game, and I want to just kind of go over this deck myself, give you my personal thoughts, if it's worth picking up, etc. But I think of the three, this is probably the best one. As I bought this on PTCGO and was just kind of skimming over the cards and everything, I think there's a lot of really good cards here. Obviously it's not going to be a competitive level deck, but I think there are a handful of cards that might go up in value and that might actually have some potential as far as being put into competitive decks. So I'm just going to go over these just like I did with the grass Pokemon deck here. I've got Oranguru, so 120 HP, pretty good for a basic, and its ability is actually really good. Once during your turn, you can draw cards until you have 3 in your hand, so it's about half as good as a Shaman, I guess, but you can put these on the bench, put as many as you want. And this is probably really good in decks that kind of burn their hand down. So any kind of like speed deck or something like that. But, later on, this could actually be a staple if Shaman is actually rotating, which will likely happen. I think the standard format next year is going to be like breakthrough on or breakpoint on. They're probably going to try to keep that break mechanic. So probably breakthrough on. So I think Oranguru might actually become a staple here. I don't know how mass produced this card is going to be. It may be a 50-cent card. It may shoot up to $3 or $4, but I would recommend trying to pick it up if you can, maybe even a couple. So not necessarily saying getting it out of this theme deck, but I would definitely consider picking it up because I think it's really good. And even the second attack here, Psychic, it has 60 and then 20 more times the number of energy attached to your opponent's active. That's actually really good against something like Eviltal. If it has 5 energy, 5 times 20 is 100 plus 60, so it's doing 160 for 3 energy. So I love that it's colorless. I love that it's splashable. That's why it's pretty decent. We see a 2-1 Beware line. Beware doesn't look all that good, to be honest. It's got a lot of HP for a stage 1. Bear Hug's okay, but otherwise, nothing too special here. We see 2 Crabrawler, for a DCE it does 20, so not too bad for a starter deck. You got to keep the context of it as well. If I'm playing other people with really basic low-end decks or starter decks or something, this isn't that bad, to be honest. It's almost like a pre-release kind of thing. We also see 2 Makuhita, but we don't see any Hariyama, so that's kind of interesting. I brought up that point in the last video why we see a lot of basic Pokemon in here, maybe some fan favorites, but we don't see any evolutions often, and it's just kind of strange, but I guess it is just kind of like a collector thing or a fan value. We see 2 of the Pacinian, and Pacinian is actually really good. I could see this being its own budget deck. Fleeing is doing 30 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That's not bad. You can use strong energy to bump it up to 50, but of course it's only going to hit the active for 50, I think, since that's an effect. And then Team Play for a DCE, it does 30 more damage to for each of your benched Pacimon. So that's actually really good. So if I have 4 in play, if I'm attacking with a 1 and 3 on the bench, it's going to be doing 100 damage for a single attachment. And, that's doing 110 with Fighting Fury Belt, 130 with Choice Band once that comes out in the next set. So I think that's really good, but something that people may not be catching on is that you can actually play Mew from Fates Collide, I think, or Mew EX that just came out in the promo box. And you can use Mew to use these attacks. You don't even have to use something like Pacimian. Pacimian's great against something like Darkrai, but Mew might be better suited for something against, say Mewtwo EX or something else that's weak to Psychic. So keep that in mind. You could definitely up your damage output that way and put all 4 on the bench. So pretty interesting. We see a 2-2 Boldore line. Boldore isn't all that interesting, but I think he's pretty popular from Black and White, I want to say. 2-1 Palisand line, I guess that's how you pronounce it. 130 HP, not bad. The Wall of Sand ability is decent. It's taking 20 less. And then its attack isn't all that great. It's doing 50, but, it's taking 4 energy to do that. So not the not the greatest in the world. If you could power it up really quickly and maybe put like, get like a bunch of Regirock out or something like that, maybe. But, it's really hard to say. But if you could somehow power it up and heal, 90, 100 damage a turn, it might actually be okay, but not right now. And then we see a 4-3-2 Incineroar line, which is the main, maybe not necessarily the main attacker of the deck, but the main Pokemon featured in the deck. And this is probably one of the best starters of the three, not counting the GXs or anything, but counting the theme deck versions. Firefang does 30 for 2, not terrible, and burns. I forgot what exactly burn does. I knew it at one point you flip, and then if tells, they take 30 between turns or something, but I think it actually changed and burn is a lot better. I think it does 20 damage between turns, but I think it actually is a lot better now. So that's something going for it. But then Darkest Lariat, 100 times the number of heads you flip, and that is potentially really good. If Choice Band comes out in the next set, you flip a couple heads, do 230 damage for 3 energy. It doesn't get any better than that. But keep in mind, it's a stage 2. You have to use Wally, Rare Candy, whatever to get it out. It's a shame that Forest of Giant Plants doesn't work for everything, the card from Ancient Origins, just because that would be really, really good, being able to get everything out the first turn. I mean, a lot of these stage 2s, they're good, but that's the reason they don't work, is because you have to spend 2 or 3 turns getting it, and then at that point, what's to stop, your opponent's Eviltal EX or Mewtwo EX from just kind of knocking out everything. So really big commitment there and not a huge payout. And then finally, we've got 2 Torkoal. And I like that Singe automatically burns your opponent. That's pretty cool. Body Slam's not that great, but again, I think they're trying to bring the burn status condition back. So it'll be interesting to see how it is, because I think it's been gone for like 2 years now, 3 years now. We haven't even seen it. There hasn't been a single Pokemon since I think Legendary Treasures or something since we've had burn. So it's good that they want to bring it back. As far as our items and trainers and supporters and such go, it's actually the same ones from the Forest Shadow deck in the last video a couple days ago. And I'm pretty sure it's the exact same ones, but I'll go through them again. Big Masalada, kind of like a potion, you're healing, removing special conditions. So again, if burn becomes big, it could be good. Energy retrieval, always good. Just get energy back in decks like Volcanion, Greninja, anything that can actually use them every turn instead of just passively. Otherwise, Super Rod's really good because it can do that and get Pokemon. Nest Ball, again, Nest Ball and Timer Ball are my favorite cards of the set, I would have to say. Maybe not the top cards of the set, but they're definitely my favorite. I love the Pokeball cards that let you just search out, no drawbacks whatsoever. Searching out a basic, really good. Potion, like I said, I've had friends that use Potion in their decks. It actually works somehow if you have these big tanky Pokemon, but in general, I think Big Masalada might actually be better. Timer Ball, like I said, that Decidueye deck we posted a few days ago, check it out, because Timer Ball is really good in it. You flip a couple heads, you get those Decidueye GXs out turn 1, it's really strong, and even if you just flip 1, you're still getting the stage 1, so really good. Ultra Ball, of course, is a staple in every deck. You want to play 4 in every deck just because searches for any Pokemon, thins your deck out, gets rid of your supporters that you don't need. So really good overall. And as you can see, they are including quite a few of these semi-playable cards in these theme decks now. There's a Rangaroo, the Pacinian, Timer Ball, all that stuff. And as far as our supporters go, the only complaint I have is that there's only 4 in the deck. I mean, there's 60 cards in the deck. There's 20 energy in the deck. There's 28 Pokemon, but there's only 4 supporters. So in the future, I'd like to see maybe 8, 10. I mean, usually in competitive decks, there's a good, I would say 10 to 12 supporters. I've seen upwards of, 15 or 16 or more supporters in decks that have, really consistently done well at big events. But 4, it's really hard to draw into what you need to. How we've got draw 3 cards, so a very basic vanilla card. Not really great right now, but later on, if things format or rotate and out of the format, we're going to have In gone and Professor Sycamore gone and stuff. So you never know, could be good. Lily, I like Lily a lot. Draw until you have 6, and if it's your first turn, draw until you have 8. So in some ways, it's actually better than a Tropical Beach. As I said, Bianca was basically the same card a couple years ago. I think she said draw until you have 6 cards, and it wasn't really that bad. With Ultra Ball, that's not bad. You can set up these turns where you draw 5, 6 cards. So later on, when things rotate, this could be pretty good. And then lastly, this is a card that was, kind of hyped, and it might actually see some play in competitive decks now, is Professor Cucuy. So you draw 2, and then during this turn, your opponent's attacks do 20 more damage. So it's going to kind of replace Giovanni's Scheme, because not only do you get the 20 damage, but you also get a draw effect. So pretty decent, and a lot of these have full arts. They're really beautiful cards. I'm sure you can check out the scans on the Pokemon website or Bulbapedia. That's another good website. And then just kind of to conclude everything, we've got 20 energy cards here once again. And again, that's one of my complaints about these theme decks. A third of your deck shouldn't really be energy. Maybe 10, 12 energy, but I think for your money, you should have a lot more trainers, a lot more playable cards, that kind of thing, to actually get you, prepared, and, hopefully get you more cards for the competitive aspect as well, build up your collection. But 9 fighting and 11 fire here. And that's actually kind of strange, because there's more fighting Pokemon than there are fire. But it looks like they're almost about the same or something. It's kind of strange. But that is going to wrap it up, guys. This is pretty much my review of the cards, my thoughts on them. So, I'd probably give it about a 3 out of 5 as far as the theme deck goes. Maybe even 3.5 out of 5. A little bit better than the Decidueye deck. I think I gave it like a 2.5 or something. But, those ratings are just kind of relative. They're just kind of my personal ratings. But I think it is a pretty good starter deck. I think it's decent for younger players and people that are just jumping into the game. Maybe they don't know what abilities are, they don't know what trainers are, so it's a nice little introduction. And of the 3 Sun and Moon starter decks, I would probably recommend this one the most, just because you get things like Oranguru, you get Pacinian, you get you get Nest Ball, you get Timer Ball, you get Ultra Ball, and then you get all the supporters as well. So I do recommend this one over the other ones. So be sure to check out our channel. We're going to have more content, of course, and our website's going to be relaunching really soon. So if you like free strategy articles and deck lists and stuff, check it out. And then finally, check us out on our Facebook page at Top Deck Nation, just to stay updated and to show your support. I really appreciate it. So in the meantime, this has been Zach with Top Deck Nation. I'll catch you guys in the next video as always, and thanks for watching.